Hey, rich friends. So this is going to be our session for Sunday, February 16th, 2025. It is a Q&A session, and we're also talking about trusting the process. Depending on how long this part is, this may or may not be a two-part video. So in general, when it comes to setting your TPs, you are going to want to, of course, target previous highs and lows. But I'm also going to give you guys a different perspective when it comes to TPs as well. So we're just going to take all of this stuff off the chart and we are going to start from the beginning. Now, I like to take profits in my trades just because I have just been doing that for so many years that it just makes sense to me to make sure that I am securing some profit in the market. And I usually like to set my take profits at previous highs and lows, but if you guys would like to read this book, it's called The Best Loser Wins by Tom Hugert. It's a really, 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 really good book. And it really helped improve my trading and just the way I think about taking profits. So sometimes I don't always set TPs for my trades. I will just let them run. And in fact, I will add to my positions if the market is going in my favor. And I'll only close my positions once I get my exit signal on my stochastic because that's the indicator that I use. So hopefully I can demonstrate an example of that to you today. But first, I'm going to just show you how to go about setting um, two multiple TPs. Okay, Kayla says she was profitable last week. She traded gold and two losses took were minimal because of a tight stop loss. She did twin trade for the first time and hit TP on both. I want to fund more money so I can profit more because I feel confident and trust in my analysis. Okay, that's awesome. That's really good. So you're definitely going to benefit from this today too because Tom Huger in the book The Best Loser Wins, he talks about it's really a psychology book. And you guys know I love Mark Douglas, who is like really big on market psychology. It's like an updated version of The Disciplined Trader or Trading in the Zone. So if you ever read that book or heard about that book, it's like a more modern version because I think it came out in 2022. But he talks about how people tend to, when you're in a losing trade, and you guys can drop some sevens in the chat if you've ever done this. If you're in a losing trade, you tend to enter the trade again or just try to revenge trade to regain your profits. A lot of us has done that. However, when our trades are winning, why don't we add to those trades? So it's just about switching your mindset when it comes to taking your profits and not being afraid that the profits you've already gained are going to leave or that if your trade hits stop loss, it's the end of the world because it's really not. So the first way that you can go about setting multiple TPs is just to again target those previous highs and lows. So I'm going to put the chart in replay mode. I'm going to select a random bar and we are going to work through this. So you guys know I always preach about having a trading checklist. A trading checklist just makes your trading very routine and mechanical. You shouldn't be stressing when you go into the market. You should have a set list of things that you're looking for. And then once you get those confirmations, you should just be like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and enter this trade. So my trading checklist is here. Of course, you guys can screenshot this or rewatch this video. And I'm just going to work through it and I'm going to show you where I would set my take profits and stop losses. So the first thing, I actually need to switch questions one and two because the first question should be, what time is it? We shouldn't just wake up and be like, oh, I feel like trading right now. Or if you're just bored or you just remember that you haven't traded in a while, you don't just want to jump into the market. You want to actually be trading at a time that's optimal, whether it's for your schedule, like you work in the morning, so you rather trade at night, or or vice versa. So we're gonna look at this time, and this is 7 a.m. in the morning. For me, that's a pretty decent time to trade. That's considered pre-market since the market actually doesn't open until 9:30 p.m. So you guys can write that down. If you are an early bird, pre-market is a good time to trade because the banks are not open yet. There's not as much momentum and volatility in the market, and it's just a little bit slower paced. But as soon as that 9:30 comes, if you back test this, you'll see that a lot of activity tends to happen around that time as well. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check the news. So I can see that on this candle, it was December 27th, 2018. And I'm going to go to Forex Factory and I'm just going to check the news. And I'm showing you guys this just because we are just going through the process. I said December 27th, 2018. That probably would have been a weird time to trade too. I don't know if I would have traded then because that's just so close to the end of the year. But we just gonna work the process. Was this website even around then? Yes, it was. So December 27th, 2018. We're going to apply settings and we're going to look at 7 a.m. So we don't have any news around that time, which is great. I always tell you guys to check the news before you trade because if there's high impact news, which will be designated by a red folder, if you're not a confident trader and you don't really work on momentums and spikes, you're going to want to avoid those. So since I'm in the clear with my low impact expected news, I can just go ahead and move to the next step of my trading checklist. So the next thing you want to ask yourself is the market trending up or down? And if you can't see the trend from where you are, you can just literally zoom out. And it looks like this market has been consolidating for a very long time. It doesn't appear to be moving up or down. So that's actually going to influence what we're going to do next in this trade. So the next step I say is if the market is trending up, focus on buys. If it's trending down, focus on sells. If consolidate and wait for the retest or break of structure. And the next thing you want to do is also can kind of combine 4 and 5 is you want to draw your support and resistance lines. And this is going to be a really important step, Vanessa, when it comes to setting those TP2s because you're just going to be looking for the next level down. So let's just see if this market is actually going to do that. So we're going to draw support and resistance lines. We're going to put it at the previous high. We're going to put a line at the previous low. And then we're just going to also highlight these other lows. Now, just because of how spiky the market can be, if when you zoom out, you'll notice, okay, that was a low, this was a low, this was a low, and you can put a TP here and a TP there, right? And then we would just pretty much go all the way down. We don't know how far this market is going to drop, but if it does come all the way back down, we know where it has the potential to go. So has the market hit a session high or low? That's an important question to ask too when determining which way you want to get into the market. Now, you'll notice on my chart, I have these things called session breaks. That's this dotted line right here. And they're very easy to use. It's a free indicator. You come to your settings, you turn on your events. You click your events tab and you make sure your session breaks is selected. Now, what a session break does is if I'm on an hour time frame, there are 24 candles that happen within a day. I want to know the daily high and I want to know the daily low because four things can happen once the market reaches our daily high or daily low. The market can resist it, as we can see it did, right? At 6 a.m. pre-market, the market is selling. It resisted that yesterday's previous high, and it's now headed toward the previous day's low. Another thing that can happen is it reaches the previous day's lows and is supported, and price goes back up. The third thing that can happen is price can break above the previous day's high for a continuation of a buying trend, or price can break below the previous day's low for a continuation of a selling trend. Now, if that makes sense so far, everybody just drop a 7 in the chat. Now, all I'm doing is, it probably sounds like a lot of words, but all I'm doing is going through my trading checklist to see if my conditions are right to get into a trade, right? And then depending on what indicators you have on your chart, those are going to determine additional questions that you may or may not have. So for example, the only indicator that I'm using right now is the stochastic. So the question is, do I have the signal on the stock? Now I'll show you guys how to use the stochastic a lot. It's pretty much if the stochastic is facing down, right? We see it here, we see it here, we see it here. If it's facing down, that's usually a reflection that the market is going down as well. If the orange line is on top, for me, that's also a bearish confirmation. And I encourage you guys to go and test this out. I always tell you how I learned how to use a lot of indicators was I would just put them on my chart and I would look at them to see how the market was reacting at that time. So I have strong sell signals on my stochastic. I have that rejection from yesterday's high, and I have a lot of things that are setting me up for this sell. Sorry, y'all. I have a lot of things that are setting me up for this sell. So what you can do is, if you feel like the market conditions are right, you can set your sell or you can set a pending order. Now, I've started to format the trades in the chat this way. If you wanted to wait for the break of structure here, since we have this consolidation, this could also be your sell stop, right? Because if it gets lower than this, then it's most likely to continue and hit these other areas as well. But we can also see what happens when the market comes to this line. Is it going to respect this level or is it going to reject this level? So we can hit play and we can see what happens. Now we can literally see on if we didn't enter that trade, right? If we just waited for, because this is pre-market, we can see that in the very next candle, we saw that it actually never reached the daily low. So this trade would have not been, if we would have set our sell stop, it would have never been triggered in the first place. But if it were to sell, those would be the areas that we would have targeted. But I'm glad that we were able to see this play out at 8 o'clock. Again, like I said, this is pre-market. So let's just actually see what happened at 9:30. At 9:30, we can see that the market started to close above the previous day's high. So we can see if we would enter for a buy now. If the market's going to continue upwards. Yep, and we can literally see how the previous high actually became the new low and the market started to go up. We're going to look at another example, but you can actually see it now if it starts to come down, how the previous levels are going to be the levels that you would target for your TPs. Whether the market is going up or down, just pay attention to how it is revisiting those previous levels. And if it's respecting the previous day's high or low and what it's doing when that happens, and if it's going up, let's just actually put some levels here too. We can see how we're only going back to those same previous highs. We're either rejecting them or respecting them. So these are going to be the levels that you want to set your take profits and your stop losses. Also being mindful of the time that it is. So we're going to take these lines off this chart. We're going to go to another candle and we are just going to do the process again. Always make sure you check the time. This is another 8 a.m. Again, you can wait until 9:30. You want to pay attention to where the high activity is in the market. So let's just go ahead and put our trading checklist back here. And we're going to do the same thing. First, we're going to do is check the news or see what time it is. It's 8 a.m. on a Friday. Fridays for me aren't the best times to trade, so I'm going to look at another candle. 5 a.m. I've noticed is actually a really decent time to trade for whatever reason. 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. Um, but even if we hold on, let me just actually go back to current time. Yeah, this market has been consolidating for so long. So yeah, Vanessa, pretty much just use previous levels for your highs and your lows. Make sure you're not trading in a consolidated market because it has the option to literally go anyway until it actually breaks structure. So that's a lot of consolidation. Like I like to trade breakouts versus trading consolidation just because it's more likely to continue in that direction. So we can see what happens here. But let's go. Let's go here. Let's see what time this is. So this is 1 a.m. Does anybody trade overnight like 1 a.m.? Because I want to use realistic examples based on the time frames that you guys actually trade. Like the times I like to trade are 9:30 in the morning. I like to trade at 7 o'clock, like 8 o'clock p.m. I like to make sure that the session is actually in fully in swing, in swing. But I'm just going to pretty much highlight different levels. And based on if the market buys or sells, like I said, you're going to see the market revisiting those levels. So when it comes to setting your TP2, what you can do is essentially trail your stop loss, and you don't have to have your trades preset. Like you don't have to be like, okay, TP2 is going to be here. But as your trade moves into profit, if you had a TP in place, you can change your stop loss and then just move your profit target down if that makes sense. Does that make sense, y'all? Drop a 7 in the chat if it does. We go to somewhere else in the charts. Let me find another random bar. All right, so I'm going to find a random bar, guys. I'm going to set my levels. And based on if it buys or sells, you'll be able to see, okay, these are places that I would want to set my TPs at. So if the market sells, TP1 would be here, TP2 would be here, TP3 would be here. If the market buys, TP1 would be here, TP2 would be here, and so on and so forth. If we zoom out, we'll be able to see previous highs. So we're going to go ahead and hit play, and we're going to see which way the market goes and if it actually does revisit those previous levels. Also, pay attention to the session breaks and look at the stochastic as well. We can see that market broke above the previous day's high. It's now using it as support. The market is continuing to go up. And we can see that that first TP was hit. That was a crazy sell. That second TP was hit as well for the buy. And even on the sell, as it came down, TP1 was hit, TP2 would have been hit, TP3 would have been hit simply because the market is always just repeating patterns. It's just a matter of time. Like I can even put this on the 4 hour. This thing is going to continue to sell. I can put this on the 4 hour, and if I were to zoom out, I can see that the market is just going to places that it's been before. So that should take a lot of the anxiety out of your trading, just knowing that the market is always going to do what it's done before. It's just determining which way it's going to go. And that's going to be based on the factors like asking yourself those news questions and asking yourself your confirmation questions. That's going to really determine what happens. So let's talk about how to add on to your trades when the market is going into your favor, when it's going in your favor. And we're going to look here. I want to go to this candle. And then I'm going to put it back on 1 hour. And then we are going to look at the times. Okay, 3 a.m. This is a really good example. This is a really good example. So 3 a.m. is when the London session starts, but we are going to, it's 3 a.m. Yeah, 3 a.m. is when the London session starts. So you can use the session breaks if you want to do it by 6 candles, like I said, because for every if you put the chart on the 4 hours, there's going to be 6 candles within the session. If you put it on the hour, there's going to be 24 candles within here. So if you want to use it this way, you have to make sure you're also looking at what time a session starts. Like the London session starts at 3 a.m. So you can put an additional line here so you know that this is the high you want to mark versus the daily high. Does that make sense, guys? If it makes sense, drop a 7 in the chat. You can use the daily highs and lows by simply using the highs and lows, or you can use the session highs and lows of the session that you're trading in. So if I was trading in the New York session, I would want to use 9 a.m. as my high. Just let me know in the chat if that makes sense. Like, I don't want to confuse you, but the stronger the confirmation, the higher the time frame, the stronger the confirmation is going to be. So using the daily high is pretty strong confirmation, but I just like to look at it on an hourly because I can see the candles just a little bit better. If that makes sense. So 3 a.m., right? That's when this session started. And now we just going to put this another horizontal line. We're going to put another horizontal line at the 3 a.m. candle from yesterday. So this is the zone that we're trading in. Now, Vanessa, this is an additional way to look at how you can not obsess about your take profits and really focus on maximizing the profits that you get out of a trade in general. Because one thing I learned from the book, The Best Loser Wins, is literally one of the best trading books I ever read in my life, is that we just can't be afraid to add to our trades. Like if we put a take profit on our trades, we're limiting the amount of profit we can make. Because I actually want you guys to drop a 7 in the chat. If you've ever taken profit on a trade, you were really happy with your profit. However, you saw the market continue to either rise or fall in the direction with so many more pips that you could have gotten. Drop a 7 in the chat if that's ever happened to you. That what happened to me so much with gold. No, you weren't being safe. You were being smart. You were practicing proper risk management. But you can also let your trades run and you can set additional parameters for when your trades are in profit. So something I've started to do, and I'm not telling you guys to mirror me because it takes practice, use your demo accounts. Whenever my gold trade is 200 pips in profit, I add money to my position. Instead of setting a TP like I typically would have did, I get into the trade again. And every 200 pips, I'm adding to my trade and I'm adjusting my stop loss. And it's just like the compounding has been just so amazing. Just yes, keep moving your stop loss. And so for every new trade that you enter, you're gonna change the stop loss of all your trades to that. So that's been pretty cool. And then when I'm in my Forex trades, whenever they get 20 pips in profit, I usually will add to my position as well. So you guys know how I usually break the trades up by 40 pips. Well, I used to, but I wanted to stop limiting you guys. That's why I don't really put exact TPs on the trades anymore. And I tell you to check the charts because sometimes the market continues to fall. So we're going to get into this sell right here. And I just want to show you guys how we can either take profit, right, at previous lows, or we can add to our positions at those places. And again, practice this because it will just build your confidence in yourself and your trading. And it's just so amazing. So we're in for a sell. We're going to set our stop loss above this high, just above the previous high. I'm not going to press the TP button and put it here, but I want you guys to be mindful that these black lines are going to be our TP. So we can say if TP would have been hit or not. And then we can also, you're just going to see, instead of taking TP at those places, I'm going to add to the position. So we're going to hit play. All right. So we can see that. Let me just rewind it because instead of taking profit here, yes, I would have secured some pips, but I also could just stay in my trade. Oh, wait, I got to get in for the sell again. You can turn it off. All right. So let me go back here and we're going to sell from here. Stop loss there. We're not going to set a TP. So we see our trade is in profit. It hit TP. Now, instead of getting out of this trade like we would have gotten out, we're just going to add to the position and move our stop loss. And then we can see that our stop loss is now in profit. So even if this trade doesn't continue to go our way, we're still hitting our stop loss in profit. And if it does continue to go our way, we just keep adjusting our stop loss. Now, we could have gotten out of the trade here, right? We could have stayed in this trade for about 19 hours and secured 70 pips, which is really awesome. But we could have stayed in this trade for more than a day and we could have gotten 130 pips. Now we can press play and see if this trade will continue to sell because look at our resistance level. It was previous support. If it comes back to that level, we can sell again or we can start to get in for buys. But you guys just have to not be afraid about adding to your trades when they're going well versus adding to your trades when they're losing, right? So this trade so far is going good. It may go back up. I just click sell again, but it seems like it's going to buy soon. And that's the thing. We never know exactly when the market is going to turn around. So let's just trade with the trend. If the market appears to be selling, let's just continue to get in for sales. If the market appears to be buying, let's just get in for buys. I'm about to close this trade, y'all, but we can see how it's going to react off of the previous level. Is it going to come back down or is it going to go up? And another thing I learned from the best loser wins, if the trade is not going in your favor, you can always just close the trade and get in for the trade the opposite way. Like nobody is in your trading account but you. If you realize that you was wrong, instead of being sad about being wrong and for harping on that loss, get out the trade and enter the position the other way. It just no one's going to fault you for that. And look, it resisted off the same area. Again, we could have just I don't know. Like, I'm gonna just close this trade too. So ultimately, the trades ended in profit, and we can just see how it really did continue to drop from our initial entry point. And this is why swing trading is so cool because you can hold your positions for longer. It's not just about, oh, I'm staying in this trade for days, I'm wasting my time. It's about I'm securing more profit because I was patient. And if you know you plan to be in your trades a little bit longer, even if you were to only use like $1 risk in this trade, that still would have been $207. If you enter this trade 2 times, 3 times, 5 times, that could have been $1,000 from clicking the button one time. And our trade never hit stop loss out of profit, right? We hit stop loss in profit because we just trailed and followed the market. So does this make sense to you guys? Again, you can set your TPs. I'm all about securing your profit. Or once you see that the trade is in profit, why are we getting out scared when we can get in more? Right? Let's actually see if this market continued to sell just to drive the point home that we don't have to limit ourselves when it comes to how much profit we're making, right? We really, really, really don't have to do that. This market continued to sell for a really long time. And if we actually just, I'm going to pause this and I'm going to put this on the weekly and let me see if I can see our candle that we got in on. So this looks like the initial trade. If we were looking at this on the weekly, right? We would have saw this resistance here. We would have got in and this trade continued to sell, right? For a very long time, right? If we would have stayed in for the whole month, that's about 275 pips. 275 pips is not bad at all, right? So that's really all I have for you guys today. I just wanted to show you that you just got to trust your trading process and you got to have a trading process. And I wanted you guys to ask questions. This video is actually going to end in about 2 minutes. So if you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat here or you can drop them in the Telegram chat. But I am going to post this video for you guys to watch tonight. If you guys don't know, I still post on YouTube every single day, and my videos are organized by playlist. So if you are struggling with market structure, if you're struggling with entry points, candlesticks, support and resistance, everything is there for you guys. You have the course materials, you have me, right? You can text me anytime. I love you guys. Reach out to me and share your progress because honestly, when you win, I win because I know that I'm doing something right. And I'm helping you to change your life. So you guys have about 60 seconds to ask any questions. Yeah, definitely try a monthly trade. One of the best things about trading in this day and age is that there's so many tools for us to learn how to make money. They're free and you can trade real market conditions in demo accounts. What are you scared of? You're losing nothing. You're losing nothing, but you're losing a lot when you don't get in here and practice, right? So it doesn't look like you have any questions. If you need to schedule a one-on-one, text me or hit me on Telegram, but that's all I have for you guys today. Until next time, rich friends, you're welcome. You're welcome, everybody. Good night.